And we are back on Mystic Fix with Seth Breedlove, the well-known figure in the world of Bigfoot hunters, the American filmmaker and founder of Small Town Monsters production company. Seth, have you seen any, are there any recent developments that you find promising in this kind of research of any kind of cryptids?
No.
No.
No, I no, I don't. There's groups that are involved who I think have the best shot at turning something up. Um, and I'm not saying that there aren't people doing good work, but at the end of the day, it's still a community of citizen scientists, you know, most of them who just find time on the weekends or whenever they can get away from their family, steal time away from their family or whatever to go do this stuff as a hobby. No, the whole thing is hamstrung just by the nature of what we're trying to do. Most scientists laugh at the very idea of something like a Bigfoot existing, and so science isn't taking it very seriously. And then you have people who are ill-equipped to know how to go into nature and then document the things they're experiencing in a way that science would accept to begin with.
It's frustrating though, because new
it
animals
is
are discovered every day.
sure, but we have the issue now of AI photographs. Like the AI is imitating real life in a very disturbing way. That makes it makes the idea of someone being able to take a believable photograph and give that to science less likely.
Yeah.
There's a lot there's also the fact that these communities, especially the Bigfoot one, but there is no quote unquote community aspect to this. For the most part, the people that are into this sort of like go off in tiny little cliques, and then inevitably there's a ton of infighting and everyone ends up hating everyone else, and then they all go on Facebook and bash each other, and it's like grade school on a really monumental level.
Or else it becomes a Discovery Channel reality show, right?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Well, that's like we've learned that just by running Small Town Monsters is like every time we get put out a new episode of one of our shows that are on YouTube, which are at the end of the day, our approach to that is very ground level. We're not trying to build anything into something it isn't. We try to be as open and honest about everything we find as we can be. But whenever we post that, we typically get numerous comments telling us we should learn to do things like X television show. And it's hard not to explain, well, the reason X television show finds everything every time they go in the woods is because it's predominantly hoaxed. like right. I know this from talking to television people. So
or else, I see it with all the ghost hunting, the ghost hunter stories. Nothing happens.
Yes.
They're scaring themselves, and they've got their infrared, and they've got all of these little impressive gimmicks, but nothing really happens of any kind of believability anyway, in my opinion. And I'm a spiritual person, but yeah, I had to, after a while, just turn off ghost hunters and some of those because it was just too silly.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Small Town Monsters, and tell me what this, it's a production company, correct?
Yeah.
And how did that start? Did that evolve from a movie first, or?
Yeah, it evolved out of Minerva Monster, which was originally supposed to be sort of a YouTube short that we were going to make. I think the original runtime was going to be like 25-30 minutes. We were going to post it on YouTube, and that was it. It ended up being an hour-long movie. We I had friends in media in Ohio, so we were able to sort of garner a lot of media attention around the state while we were making the movie, and it grew into a full-length movie, and then ended up with 1,200 people showing up for the premiere. And from there, it just kind of grew into what it is today over the course of almost 10 years now. But we just built, Minerva was the foundation, and we build on that movie by movie. And today we have the movie wing. So we release feature films every year, and then we have the YouTube wing, and then we have a publishing wing as well. So we do book publishing too.
And beyond Bigfoot, you've done like Mothman and the Bell
Mhm.
Witch and
Yeah,
UFOs, that sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah, that Bell Witch movie is actually my favorite, probably my favorite movie we've made. But yeah, we've tried to cover a broad swath of topics. It does always kind of come back to Bigfoot.
Uh-huh.
Um, but UFOs are something where we've always been very interested in as well. We did a On the Trail of UFOs miniseries back in 2020, and then 2 On the Trail of UFOs movies. But I mean, we delve into UFO topics with stuff like Invasion on Chestnut Ridge and the Mothman at Point Pleasant.
So what was your reaction when the government started talking about the possibility of UFOs? Did that blow your mind?
It made me think there's probably less to this than I thought. If the
Let's
if
do
the if the government's getting involved, I suddenly am not as interested.
it. Yeah, I felt it was kind of a look over here kind of
Yeah,
tactic, but
yeah, yeah. I
but
don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, it's definitely put you can compare and contrast the Bigfoot topic with UFOs now in a pretty distinct way. They used to kind of be lumped together. And
uh-huh.
now UFOs are kind of accepted as well. This is happening. What they are, no one seems to know, but this is
Yeah.
actually happening. Whereas with Bigfoot, it's still like the the view, especially from the mainstream of the Bigfoot subject, is it's just a bunch of weirdos running around the woods.
Gorilla suits.
Probably, yeah. But seeing gorilla suits, or drinking too much moonshine, or having sightings of bears walking on 2 feet, what have you.
You mentioned that the Bell Witch was your favorite. Why was that?
Well, the story is great. Just the story is so fascinating with the family and the initial sighting stories that or encounter stories that happen and how it impacted them over the course of like a century. Um, but I mean, it's my favorite for a few reasons. One is that visually, I think it's one of our better looking movies, and then the narrative elements of that film were really fun from a filmmaking perspective to pull off, and then the fact that they actually work, like the sound design and stuff in that movie is really great. Um, I've always been really proud of the work we did on that film. It's one of our lesser viewed movies. I know that
Interesting.
not that many people have watched it, but it's still
I
probably my
don't
favorite.
know what the Bell Witch is. I'm not sure of that tale.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's like one of the original poltergeist stories uh,
Oh,
in American history. It has nothing to do with cryptozoology. It's like a haunting
okay.
that happened in Adams, Tennessee, in the 1800s. So
So
it's a very old story, which is one of the reasons it was fun.
yeah, and fun to coming up on Halloween. Maybe our listeners will want to visit that for sure. In closing, what advice would you give individuals who wanted to pursue a career in something like this, either in filmmaking or in investigations, or both?
Yeah, I mean, for on the investigation side, I'm not sure. I don't know how the people that do it as much as they do it stay in it as long as they do. Guys like Ken Gerhard and Lyle Blackburn, Lauren Coleman, like I don't know how they stay. I don't know how they do it because it's tough because it's like the amount of evidence being put forth or found on a yearly basis is minuscule. So I don't know what keeps them going on that side of things. On the filmmaking side of things, my 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 pat answer for this is my personal motto, which is be too dumb to fail. Because that's what I mean. Like I've been doing this for almost 10 years, and you just kind of have to push forward blindly. The tools are out there for anyone to make movies, and so
Uh-huh.
for people that like to do it, you can find a way to do it, and you can find an audience of people that'll watch it. You just have to actually do it and make it happen and stick with it. Um, but yeah, on the cryptid side of it, I don't know. I know what keeps me coming back is the stories, the human stories, not the people and how this stuff impacts people. That's very interesting to me. Um,
Yeah.
but the community side of it is rough because there's just a very fractured world that we live in
Ah,
general.
sure.
And it stretches into these niche topics. But
And
yeah,
everyone wants to be the Instagram star.
everyone wants to be top. You also have to find ways to navigate around like the personalities with it. A lot of the people create a persona for themselves rather
Hmm.
than no one. It's very hard to find people who are genuine and themselves in all of this, because everyone kind of like creates a persona. Um,
Sure.
that for a while, the my persona, not that I wanted it, but it was like the hip indie film guy, and I was like, that is not me in any way, but sure.
Well, Mr. Hip Indie Film Guy, what upcoming projects or documentaries or expeditions might you have coming up?
Yeah, we just released a movie over the weekend called Werewolves Unearthed. That was I produced it. It was directed by a friend of mine named Ward Heine, and you can see that on Amazon and YouTube. Um, we have American Werewolves 2, The Skinwalkers coming out in November, and then we have YouTube stuff coming out weekly. Every week there's something coming out
Oh,
on YouTube. So
fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic. And if people wanted to learn more about you or Small Town Monsters, how would they do that?
Just visit our YouTube channel or smalltownmonsters.com.
Awesome. Seth Breedlove, thank you so much for your time. It has been a blast. And I think that this is just a really fun October approaching Halloween kind of thing. And I hope to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, thanks for having me.